Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess, and yes, today we are tackling some publishing conspiracy theories. Now, I was gonna make a tinfoil hat, but then, everything's expensive. And aluminum foil, or aluminium, if you will, tinfoil has never been cheap. Cause it's Reynolds. So I was like, nah, I can't just be wasting that on a hat, but just imagine there's a tinfoil hat here. Now, I asked people on both Instagram and on YouTube if they had any publishing conspiracy theories. I have some, and basically some that maybe you have a good notion this is what happens, like you think this is what happens, but it's never been confirmed. So I did say, all the way from something super light and probably is true till super out there, probably not, hard to prove. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're gonna do today. I've got some ones that y'all sent in and I will react, and if y'all, no one said the ones that I think, then I'll also add those in. I don't know how many I hadn't counted, so I don't know if this will be 2 parts or not, but I'm excited. But first, a word from today's sponsor. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of online classes and members across 150 countries who come together to find inspiration and take the next step in their creative journey. Skillshare is somewhere where you can really prioritize your self-care by nurturing your creativity. It's ad-free, so you can stay in the zone while you're exploring new skills. New premium classes are launched each week, and the entire catalog is now available with subtitles in Spanish, French, Portuguese, and German. I was interested in joining Skillshare because I needed to work on my editing skills and thumbnails. So a class I took early on was digital illustration, learn how to use Procreate with Jerem Vogel, and many other classes about editing and using iMovie and even Adobe Premiere Pro. And then for the future, I am going to be using Skillshare because I would like to start a podcast. Podcasting Secrets, How to Start Your Own Podcast by Nicola Matthews Okome is one I have bookmarked for later because it seems like the perfect place for me to start before starting my own podcast. So as you can see, Skillshare has a lot to offer. I think there's a class out there for everyone, and if you would like to give it a try, the first 1,000 people to use the link in my description will get a month free trial of Skillshare. So again, if you would like to try Skillshare, you can try as many classes as you'd like. Click the link in my description, and the first 1,000 people who use the link will get a month of Skillshare for free. Thanks again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Starting off pretty simple, someone said they control reading trends, like when it was all about fantasy, dystopian. I know a lot of vampires are making a comeback, and I wonder if they control, I don't know, maybe they take a chance on one that does really well, like Hunger Games, and that sold really well, so then they decide that, oh, we're only going to choose dystopian stories, for the most part. So maybe it's kind of both. Maybe somebody they take a chance on, it sells really well, it's in it has a particular trope or trend or whatever, and they're like, okay, this is all we're going with. And all those other poor people who submit their stories during that time that aren't a werewolf story or aren't a vampire story, they're like, nah, sorry, try again. So I can see that. Someone said, I think they're making YA authors write trilogies or series so they can sell more books and stress me out. I feel this because sometimes you read a book and it's like, this could have been a standalone, or it is marketed, it's giving standalone, and then all of a sudden there's a sequel like the next year or something. So I believe that. And but it's also conflicting because I've seen conversations about how publishing is paying authors, and maybe that is so they can make more money, like the authors themselves. But then also, I always think publishing is looking out for themselves, so more money for them. So I think it's like, I feel you though, because sometimes I'm like, this could have just been a duology. We didn't need a third, a fourth, a fifth book. I don't know. I think you're onto something. But also, yeah, stress us out. Like, at least, don't make us wait so long in between. I know you gotta write it, but dang, it is stressful to read a book. Especially the second book in a series ends on a cliffhanger, and then you have to wait for the stress. I don't need it in my life. Less and less people of color being published each year. So now we obviously have seen factual information about how white publishing is. And I would say that currently there's more authors of color being published now than there was. Obviously, I don't have any statistics or numbers like comparison. So I don't know if that one's true. Now I have a different theory in reference to something like that, but I'm gonna see if anybody else says it before I say it. But I would disagree. I would say more authors of color are getting published, but that doesn't mean they're getting as much marketing. I can see that. They hoard novels that should have been published years ago until they match a current trend. Now I can see that because, like the person said earlier, like maybe they were like, okay, well right now we're focused on vampires, but this werewolves, we'll bring that back in a few years. I wonder though, that would be, if they did that, like that would suck though. I don't know if they could have someone hold on for that long to be like, okay, we're gonna give 3 years to this trend and you come back. I would feel like they'd be like, no, I'm going to someone else, or I'm gonna self-publish. That would be a lot. But I do know that I've heard, especially like romance, because romance authors write pretty quickly, and you know when romance authors are like self-published, they publish books like multiple times a year. But then they go traditionally published, they may have all these books written, let's say if it's a trilogy, but they'll wait and they make them put one out like each year. So they do slow down the publishing process sometimes, which is rude, which is very rude. Making secretaries or assistants do all the real work. I'm sure the people who make, and I don't want to take anything away from agents or publicists or editors, or anybody else in the book producing process. Don't want to take that away. Because I know that there are so many who are severely underpaid, but how does it work in a corporation? Usually the people who make the least do the most work. So I'm sure, but I also know that they are severely understaffed, and I think they're putting too much work on everybody. So that's why so many people have been leaving publishing, because they're like, so you want me to do all this plus this plus this that's not in my job description for $45,000 a month, and I need to, or that would be a lot of money. $45,000 a year, and I need to live in New York City? Child, please. Publishers pay bestseller lists like the New York Times and LA Times to put books on their lists. Now, I feel like I've heard rumblings of this, that the New York Times seller list is like, I don't want to say bought, maybe it is, but it's not some organic thing, right? Like if you have a major publisher behind your book who's putting a lot into marketing, that they basically can guarantee your book goes in the New York Times bestseller. I've heard, I can't remember what I heard or where I heard it, where I read it, so I don't want to say as fact, but I think that you are correct. And if anyone can confirm this, let me know if you want to write that in the comments or if you want to like DM me. But I'm pretty sure people have proven, or at least stated, that those lists are not some like organic, oh my god, everyone just went and like bought your book and you just happened to become a New York bestseller. It was like plotted and planned. Like, is anything real? Only my love for Chris Evans. That's real. They make it harder for libraries to purchase ebooks and audio copies to try to force sales. Now that I 100% believe. Libraries have to pay a lot of money for ebook copies and audiobook copies, and then I was shocked to learn that they also, they just don't buy it and they have it forever. They have to like renew their copies, I think, so they can only have it for a certain amount of time. And I would see that, or limiting the amount of copies, because what happened, I don't know if it's when I was doing book community already, but when there was something with, was it Macmillan, one of the big publishers, who was trying to limit how much the library got. So if a new book came out, when it first released, a library would only get like one ebook or one audio, I can't remember exactly what. And then after time passed, like after, you know, it's not a new release anymore, then they could get more copies. Again, please don't quote me. I'm trying to remember. I have a terrible memory, but I remember something like coming out. Now people signed it, including myself, signed a petition because that's bullshit. It's already like your library can have 10 copies of a book and you still have like a 90-week wait if it's super popular. So giving them one copy, but I'm pretty sure I remember that happening, and I don't know if they like changed their minds because of all the backlash, but oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, they're already charging us fucking $15 for a new ebook. Are you out of your goddamn mind? Are you out of your goddamn mind? If I can get, for a brand new book, let's say the hardcover is $25 and the ebook is $15, you out of your goddamn mind. I know that's a $10 difference, but I'm not paying $15 for no digital file. I myself, the most money I will pay for an ebook is $5. $5, that's it. That's it, that's all. If it was more than that, I'm not getting it. I just can't. I want authors to make money, but I am not going to pay you $15, $10, $8, $12 for a digital file. No, 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 no. Literally, I was looking at a book. The Kindle was $9.99. The paperback was $10.99. Now, what sense does that make? What sense does that make? So I believe it. Now I understand audiobooks, there's a whole casting and production I have to go into them. And again, with ebooks, I'm not saying I don't want to pay. I'm not saying that somebody doesn't have to like format it for ebook, whatever. I'm saying I'm not paying $10 for this digital file because less work, there's no printing, no like, there's digital art, but there's like no printing, no paper, no binding. $5 needs to be the max. Or at least, if we buy a brand new book, a physical book, at least give us a code for an ebook or like a discount, something. But you know they're greedy. So anything that has to do with publishing, making more money, facts. Just facts. Someone else, how long ago? Okay. Someone else says self-help books are a scam, and I don't know. I feel like we all go through this, but maybe not. I went through a time where I was getting self-help books. Like, oh my God, if only I can understand how this person made it, I can make it. And you know what? Lies. I read a bunch of those and I'm still here, regular and broke. But yeah, I think they're all a scam. They all say the same thing. They just kind of change up the wording like to fit their personality or whatever, jazz it up with whatever they want to say. And like, you can do, there's never really, like, sure, there's actions in there, but it's just not like, I can change my attitude all I want and I can put a vision board and da-da-da, but if certain opportunities don't come my way or certain positions I apply for, I'm not granted, and just life that you can't control, I don't know. I know there's people who believe in like manifesting and vision boards, and that's great for you, not me, and self-help books are worthless. Just put them, use them as fire. Use them for firewood, I don't know. Oh, this person also added with the self-help, their marketing targets people's insecurities and are edited to make people think they learned something. True. I totes agree with that. Own voices are actually not pushed as much as the big five make it appear. I mean, there's obviously been a lot of conversations about the whole own voices hashtag in the last couple of years and how it started off really positive as a way for someone to say, hey, I am a Black queer woman and I wrote this story about a Black queer woman. So this is like, you know, my experiences in a fictionalized story. But then it's been manipulated into forcing people to come out, or people saying you're not worthy or you aren't qualified to write this story. So I don't know. I still see it used, maybe not as much as it was, but I feel like publishing did kind of just take that and started marketing everything as own voices, or right now their favorite is Black girl magic, which I love, but that is not always what we are describing in these books, but that's what they're putting on everything. So I think publishing watches trends, they watch social media, and then they take it and run with it in a negative way. Someone said all authors are peer pressured into at least one they let out a breath they didn't realize they were holding. No. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I expect it in YA, and that's one of the reasons I don't read a lot of YA. Not the only reason, but when it's in an adult book, I want to fight. I'm like, who told you to put that in there? Absolutely not. I want to fight. So yes, I believe you're right. I believe you're right. Those were the ones from Instagram. I'm going to YouTube now. So someone said with Book Talk being popular, I think they're 100% pulling new stories and old ones from the archives and advertising to a set group of people. And they're in cahoots with influencers that fit into aesthetics. I've seen way too many people on IG that have the same exact reading list. How did everyone read and love Cleopatra and Frankenstein and Sex and Rage at the same time? Let me read that again because I don't know if I understood it. So with Book Talk, they're advertising to a set group of people and are in cahoots with influencers that fit into aesthetics. I mean, it wouldn't be surprising if they saw these people maybe had similar, I don't know, maybe similar reading tastes or maybe similar aesthetics that they have on Book Talk, because I feel like aesthetics go through trends. And like right now, very like, what have I seen? Clean girl. So very like white linens, and I don't know how to explain it. Like, you know, cottage core is kind of a thing right now. So I think aesthetics go through trends and people follow those. So maybe they found some creators who fit into that trend, and then they're sending, because I mean, let's be honest, when publishers or book companies, whatever, want to push products, they go to people, obviously like influencers, and they don't reach just one and they're like, only you push this, or only I'm sending you to promote this. Just like when, you know, you see a lot of booktubers push book of the month. It's because they reach out to a lot of booktubers. So it wouldn't be surprising if they were like, this is the vibe we're looking for, this is the aesthetic we're looking for, you fit into that, would you promote these books? Yeah, seems rational to me. Let's see. Yes, finally somebody said it. Thank you. This may not be a huge conspiracy and more obvious, but some editor or authors are not being edited at all. I've been finding more typos and inconsistencies in traditionally published than indies, so I don't think there's really any editing happen. Now we know people like, I don't know, I feel like, and of course this is a theory, I feel like the bigger an author gets, the less they have to be edited, and I feel like that is unwise. Now, Brandon Sanderson is probably an exception because he has a really interesting contract with how he works with Tor. Well, also Sarah J. Maas, Cassandra Clare. It's like these books keep getting longer, and I'm like, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because sometimes as a story goes on in a series, it needs more pages, whatever, there's more to the story. That's fine. But you're reading it and I'm just like, nobody looked at this because this didn't need to be in here. So I 100% believe that with bigger authors, as they get bigger, they don't have to be edited as much. But also I think that they're trying to push out, this is my theory, that against that person who said, not against, but the person said they don't think as many POC books are being published each year, or less are being published each year. But I say the opposite. I think that more authors of color are getting published. However, not enough of them are all getting the focus and time and development that they deserve. And so they're just being rushed out because that's trendy right now, right? To have diversity in publishing. And so while the story might be interesting, you know, the project, they're not taking the time to go through multiple edits, or they're not taking the time to put in effort for unique and different marketing. Not for all of them, obviously. There are some that get really great marketing pushes that seem to be better edited and put together than other ones, have really great cover artists, but there are some that are just being thrown together and thrown out there. And then they wonder why it's not doing well. It's like, well, the cover art is giving clip art from 2000. Okay, the editing, where there is none, and the marketing, oh, we heard about it one day before it was coming out. Like, you gotta build up the hype, you gotta tell people about it, you gotta get it to the right people. Like, that's what I feel like they're doing. And not just authors of color. I feel like there are some white authors that they're not doing the editing, but that is my theory, that books by authors of color, they're trying to push more out because that's trendy and hot right now, to be diverse, to be inclusive, but they're not putting in the work, because some of these, they get marketed and I'm like, oh my God, this sounds so good, I'm so excited. And then I read it and I'm like, no, we needed some more. We needed some edits here. We needed to flesh this out some more. We needed to think about this. We needed to sit down and go back through this. That's what I think. That's a theory now, cannot be proven, but I've been feeling that with a lot of books by authors of color coming out, where I feel like it doesn't feel completely finished, or doesn't feel like they had enough time. And I could be wrong, but that's my theory. So thank you. They're favoring books that fit with TikTok trends, which leads to less variety in the books that get published. I mean, yes, that makes total sense, because I have seen music artists talk about how the music industry has even changed to where they're like, they want songs with like a part that can go viral on TikTok. So it's not even just like about their music. And granted, some of these people are super famous, and that's fine, but it still must be frustrating as an artist to be like, hey, this is what I want to create, but they're like, I don't know if that's catchy enough to go viral on TikTok. So I feel that. Yes. Publishing companies are allowing so many people to quit, like editors and agents, to see how bare bones their operation costs can be and how much they can get authors to do themselves while making the same profit, especially when it comes to marketing. It seems that with social media, authors are doing the heavy lifting, and some books seem to be less and less edited based on some reviews I've seen. Say it. Yes. Say that. I have seen various conversations from various authors talking about the pressures from their publishing company that they have to have the social media presence, and obviously we've seen some messiness that can happen with authors and readers. And if you maybe are a really introverted person, or you don't have anxiety or whatever, and you don't want to have this huge social media presence, but then you need to for your book because, like I said before, they're not giving you the marketing that they're giving some other books, then you have to do the heavy lifting for sure. All of these corporations, and publishing is a corporation at the end of the day. All these corporations want to run on as little people as possible, paying them the least amount as possible, so they rake in the big profits up here so they can buy their yachts and their vacation homes. So now it's a theory, but I support you in this theory because they're trifling. Yes, they want them to do more and more, and it's fine. Like, it's fine I think publishing, your whole deal, because aren't you paying them? I don't know the thing, right? You're getting paid for your book, but you have to pay out certain amounts to whoever, editor, agent, team, right? So they should be doing the work. But then also I know that since they don't have a lot of employees, then, one person is overwhelmed with all these things. There's all these problems that stem from greed from the company at the top, and then that trickles down to all the people working in publishing, and then all the authors who don't get as much time and energy and money as they should, as some other people get. It's very upsetting. Publishers don't care if people end up liking a book. They care that they buy it. I mean, I think that goes along with our previous arguments here about editing. Yeah, they're like, well, no. Yes, perfect example is Book of Night. Book of Night by Holly Black. Now, granted, this is my first book I was reading by Holly Black, but I was excited about the adult, the premise. I like the cover. I know some people are like, oh, it's kind of plain. I like the cover, right? And that's where they get you. They're like, I feel like she wrote Book of Night like a rough draft. She was like, here's what I'm thinking for my next project. And they're like, done. That's it. She's like, don't I need to like edit it? And they're like, nope. This is perfect like this. And that's what they did. And they sent it to the printers, and they're like, look, we got a pretty cover. We'll get with Illumicate. We'll get the fairy loot. We'll get sprayed edges. It will sell, girl. And that's it. And it did. It did sell, and it's trash. And multiple people think it's trash. It's not even one of those books where everyone's like, oh my God. It's like a Sarah J. Maas trash. It's literally not good. It is bland, and it feels so unfinished, but they sold a lot of books. Through those book boxes, through pre-orders, through book of the month. But where could they have used that money, that time, that energy? On other books that were actually good, that maybe just need a little bit more development, but they put, you said it! You said it. Now, I know this is supposed to be theories, but I'm sorry. If anything, Book of Night convinced me that's 100% fact. 100%. Someone said the Penguin Random House and Simon & Schuster merger is not going to help authors get bigger advances or improve publishing. Yeah, facts. I mean, that's not even a theory. Facts. Most agents have a clear conflict of interest because their relationship with the editors are more important than their relationship with authors. They cannot effectively negotiate for the best deals because they'll be shut out. Ooh. See, I never thought about that. I see it. I do. Whew. Several of the leading agencies have bad agents at them and don't care because of nepotism. There's so much nepotism everywhere. Like, I remember when there were some agents acting a fool for a while, and I was like looking it up, and he was the son of the guy who owned the thing, and it's like, I feel you. I feel like publishers only want to see certain types of books from minority writers, i.e. Black people dealing with racism or slavery, Asian people visiting their parents' homeland, Latinx people dealing with immigration, gay people dealing with homophobia, indigenous people dealing with alcoholism and drug abuse, etc. I refuse to believe it's writers driving the imbalance. Publishers, which are mostly made up of straight white folks, must get off on minorities reliving their trauma on page. Things are getting better, but these themes still feel like publishing favorites. Yes! That was my other thing. Okay. While these issues are important because they are things that affect marginalized groups of people, they are not all that affect marginalized groups of people. We are not just our generational trauma. We are not just our low points. We have so many other things. Or, you know, like, especially like in fantasy, we can just be and have things that are relevant to like our culture, and we can just be in a made up world. Or we could just be in space. We don't always have to have the trauma come with us. I feel this because I feel like so many books recently that I've been reading, I think of Ace of Spades. I think of Grown, White Smoke. I think of, well, obviously The Hate You Give was really popular. Like Dear Martin, Dear Justice. I'm speaking from books written by Black authors that I'm thinking about. Legendborn. Like, I'm tired. And that is why I am just like, maybe these aren't being written for me. They feel like they're being written for white audiences so they can be like, oh, I'm reading this book that's diverse and it's about other people, about people of color, and I'm just learning so much. That's what I feel. Like when I've read books like Legendborn, or Ace of Spades or other books, and this is not like, I just don't feel like I read the book and I'm like, oh, you wrote this for me, a Black woman. You wrote this for me, a Black girl. I don't feel that because I'm like, oh, I already know. I know what we've been through. I know racism. I know microaggressions. I've already experienced that. Please, in this book, especially when it's a fantasy, I'm like, if you don't get this shit out of here, I don't want it. Make shit up. In this world, we are not oppressed. You can make it up. You can make it up. I've been ranting and my battery's gonna die. Who's surprised? Okay, I've calmed down. But I feel that one so much. It is very frustrating to me, especially when they are marketing these as Black girl magic and all these things. Or when I think Black girl magic, I think many Black girls. I think happiness. I think positivity. Like, it doesn't mean that you can't have opposition, you can't have a villain in a story, but it does not always have to be racism, prejudice, oppression. But I feel like, I don't know if it's truly authors want to write this, but I feel like, and granted, I've never worked in publishing, and I haven't always like really been in tuned into what's going on in the book world, right? Like only the last couple of years, but I feel like The Hate You Give was a turning point for publishing, like one of those major turning points. Like The Hate You Give was like a turning point like The Hunger Games was, or Twilight. When did The Hate You Give come out? I don't even remember, but since then there's been so many books that feature, and yes, these real things. I know they're real things and I know they're important. And granted, The Hate You Give is contemporary, it's not a fantasy novel, but it just doesn't have to be all of them. You can even have a contemporary story where you don't have to include that. I don't know. Who am I? I don't read a lot of YA contemporary anyway, but yes. I think some members of Book Talk, Bookstagram are plants. Every book has an audience, but some people are just going too hard for books. A ton of people go on to read and hate with a burning passion. Coincidence? Probably not. I feel this, but I would add BookTube. I would add BookTube and If you're watching, you know who you are, what I'm about to refer to, because I have seen random accounts pop up that I have never seen. And granted, I know I can't know all of the booktube accounts, but random accounts I have never seen, not even recommended, not like, you know, when if you have autoplay and it just starts playing, never seen it on my whatever main page. And I just see these people popping up and they have like 600,000 followers and their videos are getting like 100, 200,000 views, and all of a sudden these are booktubers I've never heard of, especially to be that big. I'm like, what? Like, some of these videos have a million views on it. It's like, oh, I read, and this is no shade. This is no shade, right? Because we all read at our own pace. But on booktube, generally reading, like, I'll say anywhere from 8 to 12, 15 books is kind of average for booktube, and do not feel bad if you're under that. I'm just saying, a general average that people read, generally a lot, we read more than the general public, but these people are showing up with a video of, I read 10 books in a month. Let me show you how. And it has like 1 million views. Fake. I'm sorry. Plants. Has to be. It's not making sense. The math is not mathing. There's people I have seen for years and years and years. I understand, right? They know the big accounts. And obviously there are also people who are large on booktube, but they are in another language. No, but these are people, white, primarily white girls, women, femmes, that I see randomly pop up. And I'm like, where the fuck did you come from? I ain't never seen you. Let me show you how I read 8 books this month. Okay, bitch. I can do that on myself. But they have hella views. Ain't never seen them before. Plants. Yep. That's just a theory though. Someone said overusing LGBTQ plus stories to sell copies, but the stories themselves aren't good. You know, the ones with the cartoony cover art style that become a trend. It's mostly found in romance and other type of contemporary sad stories where they do the kill the gays trope with one of them dying or the death itself as the main plot point. I'm saying this as a gay guy, of course. Now, I have been reading more queer romances. I haven't read like a lot to feel like I have a great opinion on this, but I do feel like just a lot of any kind of label are pushed hard on stories. Like I said with the Black Girl Magic, or with like, yeah, these are queer love stories or something, and it turns out to be really traumatic. But so if you've read more queer romances, especially, or contemporaries, especially with like an illustrated cover, do you feel the same? Because I just feel like I don't have a good range or a good a sample size to comment on that one, but I would believe it. And the last one I have, which is the best one, says Twilight was written by the government. There's no other explanation. And I think that's hilarious. If anyone shares this theory or has something to expound on this, I would love to hear it, but I have never heard that. But those were just the conspiracy theories that people gave me, which I think a lot of them probably could be proven with a little more research, and some of them maybe not, and they would never admit to it. But I think we know, we see behind that publishing curtain. And people touched on, my main ones were about basically books by authors of color, and how they're not given enough time, development, editing, marketing, and especially that one with the trauma in books about marginalized people. Enrages me. So if you have any additional ones, please let me know in the comments. If there's enough, maybe I'll do a part 2, but I just thought it was fun because in one video I had someone comment basically like, my theory is that publishing is like something like isn't editing books by Black authors, or like it was something where I was like, ooh, theory, publishing. So if you know what comment I'm talking about, it's you. Thank you for the inspiration. I'm sorry. I will screenshot comments because I'm like, okay, I really love this one. I want to share it later. And then I have so many screenshots, it gets lost. I'm so sorry, but this was super fun. Thank you all for watching. Thank you Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Always check down in the description box. So I have a link for Skillshare. I also have all of my social media, so you can find me wherever on the internet. Ways to support my channel. Join my Patreon if you would like. But stay blessed, hydrated, moisturized, and sunscreen, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.